Is science the root of all evil? I am asking this question as a Christian, who has been asked the same question in regards to my religion. As a matter of fact, in regards to all religions. First, my answer is a simple no. Science is not the root of all evil. I would answer in the same way for the argument of religion, as it is not the root of all evil either. I believe science has brought many new advances, life-saving technologies, as well as an explosion of knowledge that has moved mankind in a forward direction for centuries. But I believe that many positive statements can be made in the case of religion as well. The concern is, how can so many non-believers and some from the science community not see the evidence in the same light? Christians are being attacked daily with arguments such as, some Christians have killed in the name of religion, therefore Christianity and religion must be invalid or void. Christians are intolerant. Christians are hypocritical, controlling. Christianity and religion is a walking self-contradiction. These are all arguments that are coming from the science community as well as non-believers. I will ask the same questions to anyone in the science community as well as non-believers, as I hope at the conclusion you realize the parallels between the two in this debate. Science, from Latin meaning knowledge, refers to any systematic knowledge base or prescriptive practice that is capable of resulting in a prediction or predictable type of outcome. In this sense, science may refer to a highly skilled technique or practice. Science is a continuing effort to discover and increase human knowledge and understanding through disciplined research. A scientific method seeks to explain the events of nature in a reproducible way and to use these reproductions to make useful predictions. So, if science is just the pursuit of knowledge advancement and processed methods and measurements, then there should be no reason for it to be involved in moral issues or have any preconceived opinions on what has not fully been tested, right? Morality and science. Are there any issues with the two? Well, let's take a look at what is currently on the table when it comes to science and morality. Well, there's abortion, embryonic stem cells, human cloning, euthanasia, bionuclear chemical warfare, homosexuality gene research, religion gene research, evolution campaigns by the science community against religion, advertisements and media blitzes to discount religion, most importantly Christianity in the name of science, being mocked and unfairly attacked, prejudice, and in some cases extreme peer ridicule for opposite opinions in regards to evolution and creative design theories or spiritual and religious opinions in academia. So if science is not perfect in the morality arena, then what else could it have possibly failed in? Eugenics. A hypothetical scenario that posts that if one racial minority group is on average less intelligent than the racial majority group, then it is more likely that the racial minority group will be submitted to the eugenics program rather than the least intelligent members of the whole population. In short, eugenics was a sterilization program to remove the weak or racial inferior. The scientific reputation of eugenics started to decline in the 1930s, a time when Ernest Rudin used eugenics as a justification for the racial policies of Nazi Germany, and when proponents of eugenics among scientists and thinkers prompted a backlash in the public. Nevertheless, the second largest known eugenics program, created by Social Democrats in Sweden, continued until 1975. In America, 60,000 Americans were sterilized. Countless across other countries were sterilized, and unfortunately, some taken to the level of euthanasia. Hitler's eugenics program killed hundreds of thousands in the name of eugenics and racial science. Prescription drugs. A medical report in 1998 estimated that adverse reactions to prescription drugs are killing about 106,000 Americans each year, roughly 3 times as many as are killed by automobiles. This makes prescription drugs the 4th leading killer in the United States after heart disease, cancer, and stroke. The FDA said it has received 23 reports of serious liver injuries linked to hydroxycut products, which are also used as energy enhancers and fat burners just recently. Tylenol causes 3 times as many cases of liver failure as all other drugs combined, and is the most common cause of acute liver failure in the United States, accounting for 39% of all cases. In the early 1990s, a researcher at the University of Rochester concluded that fen-phen increased risk of developing primary pulmonary hypertension, a fatal lung disorder. It is estimated that between 1.2 million and 4.7 million Americans were exposed to the drug combination. Vaccinations. Vaccinations themselves are now causing a major upsurge in childhood diseases, adult maladies, and even deadly ailments such as Gulf War syndrome and Lou Gehrig's disease. Many vaccines are hurting more people than helping. Flu deaths are not decreasing, but the flu vaccines are increasing. In 2008, the U.S. National Academy of Science published evidence suggesting that excess illness in Gulf War veterans can be explained in part by their exposure to a vaccination, the same scientific community that gave them the vaccination. Chernobyl. April 26, 1986 was the day Soviet nuclear experts learned the true meaning of the word oops. During a test of one of Chernobyl's 4 reactors, they turned off the backup cooling system and used only 8 carbide rods of the 15 rods required as standard operating procedures. A runaway chain reaction blew the steel and concrete lid off the reactor and created a fireball releasing 100 times more radiation than did of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs combined. Some 4,300 people eventually died as a result, and more than 70,000 were permanently disabled. Killer bees. Sometimes mistakes that were made decades ago take a while to make the force of their foolishness felt. Consider the case of killer bees. In the 1950s, Brazilian geneticists crossbred mild-mannered European honeybees with their more aggressive territorial cousins from Africa, reasoning that the Africanized bees would be better suited for their European counterparts to warmer South American climes. They were too right. Before the aggression could be bred out of the resulting cross, the buggers got away, and some immediately headed north. In 1990, the first Africanized honeybees were discovered in Texas. Since that time, they've gradually spread to New Mexico, Arizona, California, and in 1999 to Nevada. Killer bees have killed thousands of humans and possess severe territorial dilemmas. There have been many exciting advancements in the name of science. Unfortunately, through those exciting advancements, the world has seen some of the greatest atrocities known to mankind. Consider the case of biological warfare, chemical warfare, and nuclear warfare, all of which, through the creation of science, have killed millions of lives. Consider the case of euthanasia, which has taken hundreds of thousands of lives in the name of science. Consider the case of abortion, which has reduced the number of lives coming into this world by millions, all in the name of science. If one looks at the evidence and compares the two, science and religion, based on the same standard of what bad deeds or blunders may have occurred in the name of each respected group, then one would be reduced to the argument of which group is worse. It becomes a terrible game of death counts, name-calling, and in my opinion, true hypocrisy. I believe the evidence shows that some, in the name of science and religion, have done horrible deeds, and have lied and manipulated for their own personal gain and gratification. It just proves we're living in a broken world, and nothing anyone does or says is ever going to change the fact that sin falls on both sides of this debate. The real question is do you admit that you have sinned? Have you asked for forgiveness for those sins? And do you believe in the one and only true God and His Son that can forgive you of those sins? If we truly lived for God and loved each other like ourselves, this world would be set free. Unfortunately, that is not the case, and the Bible says we will not see that perfect world until Christ returns. Until then, sin will remain the root of all evil.